Behind the iron resolve of a nation's leader lies a story written in dust, ink, and blood. We see the power, but rarely the person. What does it truly take to carry the hopes of millions through decades of fire and sanctions? Today, we step beyond the headlines to discover a journey of sacrifice that began in a humble home. In 1939, in the sacred shadows of Mashhad, a young boy named Ali was born into a world of quiet devotion. His father was a modest scholar, and their home was a sanctuary of ancient manuscripts and the rhythmic hum of prayer. Here, amidst the scent of old paper, the seeds of a future leader were sown. It was his mother, Khadija, who opened the doors of his imagination. She was a woman of profound intellect, filling his childhood with the beauty of Persian poetry and the wisdom of the Quran. She didn't just teach him to read. She taught him to feel the soul of words, sparking a lifelong flame of literary passion. As a teenager, Ali's thirst for truth took him across borders to Najaf, the great center of Shiite learning. He walked through turquoise arches, surrounded by the greatest minds of his time. He was a young scholar in search of light, unaware that the world outside was beginning to burn with the desire for change. In the city of Qom, fate led him to Ali Khamenei. In this stoic teacher, Ali found more than a scholar. He found a visionary who believed that faith must stand against injustice. It was a meeting of minds that would eventually ignite a revolution and reshape the destiny of the entire Middle East forever. But then, a heart-wrenching choice. In 1964, Ali's father fell ill. To stay in Qom meant reaching the highest peaks of scholarship. To leave meant abandoning his dreams. He chose his father. It was his first great sacrifice, proving that for Ali, the duty of the heart always came before the glory of a title. Back in Mashhad, Ali could no longer remain silent while his country groaned under the Shah's iron rule. He became a voice for the voiceless, translating banned books and giving sermons that crackled with defiance. He knew the secret police were watching, yet his conviction only grew stronger with every passing day. The price of defiance was a cell in the dark. 7 times he was arrested. In the brutal halls of the Savak, he endured 10 days of unspeakable torture. But they couldn't break a spirit anchored in faith. In the silence of his prison cell, Ali found a strength that no wall could ever contain. Exile followed. Cast away to the remote, scorching deserts of Iranshar, he was meant to be forgotten. But under the vast, lonely stars, Ali didn't feel alone. He felt the pulse of a nation waiting to awaken. The desert didn't swallow him. It prepared him for the storm that was about to break. 1979. The air in Iran tasted of freedom. As the Shah fled into history, Ali stood in the streets of Mashhad, a leader forged in the fires of prison and exile. The revolution had arrived, and the humble scholar was now a guardian of a new era, standing at the threshold of power. As the Friday prayer leader of Tehran, Ali was a sight the world had never seen. He stood at the pulpit, a rifle in his hand, a symbol of a nation that was both praying for peace and prepared for war. His voice echoed through the capital, rallying a people to defend their newfound independence. In June 1981, the shadows struck. A bomb hidden in a tape recorder exploded inches from his face. He survived, but his right arm was forever stilled, a permanent scar of his devotion. He became a living martyr, carrying the physical weight of the revolution on his very body from that day forward. Chosen by 95% of the people, Ali became president during Iran's darkest hour, the 8-year war with Iraq. He walked through hospital wards and front lines, comforting the wounded and burying the dead. He wasn't just a politician. He was a brother in arms to a generation that was sacrificing everything for their land. He took Iran's message to the world, from the halls of the UN to the distant reaches of Africa and Asia. He sought to break the isolation, proving that a revolutionary nation could also be a diplomatic force. He moved between worlds, carrying the dignity of a culture that refused to bow to anyone. His principles were non-negotiable. In Zimbabwe, he walked away from a royal feast because it compromised his faith. To some, it was a diplomatic stir. To Ali, it was a message. If you do not respect your own values, the world will never respect your nation. Dignity, he believed, had no price tag. In 1989, the great mentor, Khamenei, passed away. The weight of the entire Islamic Republic now fell upon Ali's shoulders. He accepted the role of supreme leader with tears, trembling at the responsibility. He called himself a simple student, yet the world knew he was now the ultimate compass of the nation. From a quiet office, he now commanded the military, the courts, and the spiritual path of millions. He didn't seek the luxury of a palace. He lived simply, focused on a singular goal: keeping Iran independent in a world that sought to bring it to its knees through pressure and isolation. Then came the nuclear era. To Ali, the West's concern wasn't about weapons. It was about stopping Iran's scientific soul. He issued a sacred decree against nuclear bombs, yet he refused to stop the enrichment. For him, the laboratory was a new battlefield for the nation's right to progress and exist. He was a man of iron, but he knew when to breathe. In 2013, to save the economy and his people's livelihood, he authorized the nuclear deal. It was a masterclass in heroic flexibility, showing that while his heart was with the revolution, his mind was always focused on the survival of the state. But trust is a fragile thing. When the U.S. walked away from the agreement years later, Ali's deep-seated distrust was confirmed. He turned Iran's gaze back inward, believing that the only hand that would ever truly help Iran was its own. The era of compromise ended. The era of self-reliance began. Now, in the twilight of his years, Ali Khamenei remains a figure of intense debate and undeniable influence. A poet who loves literature, a prisoner who survived torture, a president who endured war. His life is the story of modern Iran, a journey defined by the refusal to let others write their destiny. The lesson of his journey is one that transcends politics. Independence is never given. It is earned through sacrifice. Whether through the pages of a book or the fire of revolution, Ali's life teaches us that the greatest power on earth is a soul that refuses to surrender its identity.